Commissioner Hastings here, Chair Hastings. Do we have any other commissioners signed in besides Mr. Coolin Law?
Hank, Casey here. Just to confirm, you're looking for voting commissioners, because this commission has the distinction of, the non-voting and voting.
True.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and Commissioner Lunn is here as well, voting member.
Actually, Jessica or Commissioner Lunn, you're RDCK representative, so myself, Director Main, and yourself, and whoever is representing the village of New Denver, which is Director Casely, we're non-voting members.
Oh, I didn't realize that. We always voted in the past, but it's been a very long time since I've been to a Parks Commission meeting, so. Yeah, so I'm just observing. So do I need to be here to complete quorum?
No, actually, we need one more voting commissioner to complete a quorum. We need 5 to complete a quorum. And it is 7:04.
I see a name in the participants, Jeff.
And that's Jeff Phillips, I presume.
Is he a voting member?
And no, he's staff.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Jeff. Can you respond to us?
Yeah, Walter. Yep, I'm here. Thanks. Just using this app for the first time, so I hope I'm doing right.
Okay, it's 7:04 or 7:05, and I think maybe we should phone a few of the commissioners to make sure we have a quorum. There is some business that I'd like to see conducted at this meeting to move forward.
Tracy, do you want to do a roll call?
Yeah, go ahead. It's your meeting. You're the chair.
Okay. So Tracy, let's do a roll call and see if someone else has popped in.
Perfect. So I'll just start from the top. Director Popoff.
I am here.
Director Main.
Yes, I'm present. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Allen.
Yes, present.
Okay. Commissioner McRae. Commissioner Chair Hastings.
Present.
Commissioner Law.
Present.
Oh, there we go. Commissioner Coolin.
I'm here.
Director Casley. No. Director Lunn.
Yeah, I'm here.
Thank you. Commissioner Wright is here. No. Commissioner Schwartz. And Commissioner Kipke. Okay, that's everyone. So it looks like, and then you had mentioned that there are some non-voting members. We have 7 present and 5 not present.
And only 2 voting.
I think Commissioner Law here.
Counting.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Casey.
Sorry, Hank. I was just going to say that Commissioner McRae is usually good to call. Try and call him. I'm not sure if you have his number there, Lisa. No, I'll double check what I have here, but usually good to pick up. But Commissioner Reitmeyer is he's in the forest industry, so he's up usually early and to bed early. So maybe him and or Commissioner Schwartz, I think, would be our best chance here. So we'll try finding one of those.
Have you got Greg's number?
Just checking my phone here. I don't know if I do.
It's 265-8866.
Okay, I'll try that.
This is Richard here. I just tried Scott Kipke, but there was no answer there.
Thank you, Richard.
Okay, I've called Scott Kipke and I got his recording and left him a message to join our meeting if he gets the message within the next few minutes. So I'm going to call Peter Schwartz now.
We have Pete Schwartz coming on shortly.
Okay, great. Then we'll have a quorum.
Awesome.
While we're waiting, Teresa, a question. Is there, like with the meetings that you've attended, have administered, was there any problem getting a quorum, or is this a common problem right throughout the regional district?
I've only had one other meeting where we didn't meet quorum.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So welcome to the Slocan Valley.
There's too many fun things to do, that's why. It must be.
So Hank, did you talk to Pete Schwartz, or was it Casey that talked to him?
That was me, Mike.
Oh, Mike. And he's going to be coming online here pretty quick, right?
That's what he said. Yeah. Do not get this thing maximized. Up here. Right there.
Well, that gave me time to finish my supper.
Just got off the phone with Greg McCrae, and he's having some technical difficulties with updating his Zoom. So he's going to try on his phone, but he's still trying.
Okay, thanks, Casey.
Richard, have you been following the toad migration on the rail trail?
Sorry, Mike, what was that?
Richard, have you been, sorry, have you been following the toad migration on the rail trail?
Yes, I have. I was up there 2 days ago and went up from the Southern Highway to the little beach at the south end of the lake, and I saw no toads. And
Oh, so they're,
Debbie's on the watch for them too up there, who lives right up at Summit Lake.
so do you think they're
I don't
done?
know. They haven't, as far as I know, there went a few on the rail trail a week or two ago. So I don't know, Mike. We have signs posted just asking people to be cautious and to turn around if they if it appears that it would be unavoidable injury to the toads.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. I see somebody joined an iPhone. Yes, who is on their iPhone? Can you please identify yourself? Gord, is that you on the iPhone? Second request, who's on the iPhone? Can you please identify yourself? Okay, I'll do it one more time. Gord, are you with us? Or Peter, are you there? So must be a member of the public that does not want to acknowledge that they're who they are. Good.
Look here.
I see Peter has joined the meeting, so we have a quorum now, Hank. And Peter, can you acknowledge yourself to ensure that we have a quorum?
Peter, just unmute yourself and say hi so we know you're there.
Pete, maybe you need to unmute yourself.
Are we sure that Pete is there?
Well, I'm looking at the screen, Hank, and it says Peter Schwartz on there, so.
Okay, well,
We do want him to have speaking privileges.
well, call the meeting to order then.
Okay, you're the chair.
Okay, here we go.
Let's go.
I'm going to call this meeting to order at 7:20. And acknowledge that we acknowledge and respect the indigenous peoples within whose traditional lands we are meeting today. Someone like to move the agenda after taking a look at it?
Yeah, before we move the agenda, I'd like to have an addition to the agenda. And under new business as item 6. Where's the new business here?
It ain't.
It would be 6.3, Walter.
Okay, under 6.3. And the item I'd like to add to the agenda is a discussion about the management of the Galena Trail. And in order for me to add that item to the agenda, we need a 2/3 majority vote of the voting delegates to add that to the agenda.
2/3.
Yes.
I vote, this is Mike Coolin, I vote in favor.
Richard Allen, I vote in favor.
Commissioner Law in favor. What's the question called?
Yes, I would vote in favor. Chair Hastings here. And what would be 6.2 on the agenda? I don't have it.
I'm looking at it. It's the budget report.
Okay.
Staff reports is one of the staff reports.
Okay. Budget. Right. Any more additions to the agenda?
Commissioner Law here. Commissioner McCray asked me to bring forward an item for discussion in regards to a plaque for Grant Copeland on the cable car. I don't know if that's a worthy of a new agenda item. I don't know if it's a pressing item per se, but I'll put it forward. So just
Okay, we'll
item 6.4 would be a plaque on the cable car in honor of Grant Copeland, which was there before.
Okay, I've got that.
And
Grant Copeland.
yeah. And call the question, or sorry, yeah, call the question if that's all right for a vote then. In favor?
All right, I call the question.
Richard Allen,
Hearing,
favor.
do I hear any negative votes? Hearing none, we'll add that to the agenda.
Thank you.
Right. Any more additions to the agenda this evening? Someone like to move that we accept these, adopt the agenda?
So moved, Commissioner Law.
This is Mike Coolin, second.
Thank you, Mike. The adoption is carried. The receipt of the minutes. March 6th, Rosebery Parklands and Trails meeting. You may be perused. Any corrections to these minutes? Hearing none, I will count that we've received the minutes from the last meeting. Point 5, there, 5.1, no delegate scheduled for this commission meeting. Okay, it's time for staff reports. the operational report. Jeff, would you take that?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Chair. So instead of me rambling on as I normally do, we've attached a report that I'm not sure if everyone's had a chance to look at yet. It's down in this agenda package, starting on page 7 there, if you're looking at it digitally. And you kind of follow along now, and there's some photos and things like that to help people to place the, see what's done and things like that. And this is just sort of the high level, some of the high level activities that we've worked on this year. So, I guess I'll just sort of run through the report and see if anyone has any questions once we're done that. But so the first section 2 there.
Yeah, before you get Walter here, somebody's not muted. It sounds like Mike, it looks like you're not muted, and we're hearing a lot of background noise.
Okay.
Sorry, Jeff, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Walter. So I guess we started off the year with flying the boardwalk in, setting the foundations for the boardwalk. And I think this occurred actually right around there last time we met. So we've flown it in, and the cedar railings have been put on, and the base has been put on, and the fill, as you can see in that first photo, and it's fully complete and commissioned and seems to be working quite well. We also finally were able to remove a good portion, about 90% of the railway ties from Denver siding outside the YRB. Those were pulled off the trail 2 years ago, if I recall correctly, and placed in that location for eventually hauling out to the to the landfill down in Castlegar. And we were able to finally line things up for that this year. And we took that opportunity to bring up some high fines gravel from Nelson. We're having a heck of a time finding a source for that in the valley. So the truck was coming up anyway. So we've gotten the gravel that we needed brought up for Bigelow and for a section at Rosebery Shores. So that was the sort of first two tasks we did on the Galena. And then I did mention here that the wood from that old boardwalk, so where that bridge is now, we bumped that forward while we had the helicopter time, and bumped that forward to the cable car location, so we could we'll have to put a temporary boardwalk in there to open up the trail down to the cable car. So that's sort of on the books to do that job. But so those are some of the higher level activities done on the Galena Trail. And then Bigelow Bay, that outhouse, as you know, is completed, but we had lots of finishing touches to do, and we're not done yet. Unfortunately, yet we're not quite done. But you can see in the photo that you can see that high fines gravel in the photo that almost looks sort of sandy. It's a real small gravel though, and it works really good for trails. And like I said, it's hard to find. It was hard to find that source in the valley. So the outhouse is up and well used. It's shocking how well used it is, which is great. And so some of the finishing touches that we did, it was sort of in consultation with New Denver when we located this during the planning stages with the village. Where we put it was sort of offset a nice picnic zone. So we agreed that we were going to put in some new amenities because we displaced that, and we've added those benches last year, view benches, and we need to tie those benches in and make a few small tweaks to them, but tie them into the trails so they're easier to get to. So those are some of the finishing touches we need to do at Bigelow this year, and that's all scheduled to happen in, if not next week, the week after. The crew will be coming up to work on that. So I think we're happy, and I think I feel like this is a major improvement for the facility there at Bigelow, and like I say, it seems to be well used. And then on the Parklands, Carrie's still working with the community association there, as it's noted, for some fuel mitigation work within that area. I haven't been fully involved with it at this point. It's mostly on the paperwork side of things and getting the agreement sorted and getting the insurances all set up and things like that. So that's where that's at. I don't, like I said, I haven't seen the subscription and how exactly they plan on doing the work, but I'm sure there'll be more to come on that. We still have lots to do in 2024. We definitely had some unforeseen situations, and the fires being one of them, and then the smoke in the valley, that we haven't been there as much, and we haven't got as much work done. We haven't done sort of those constrictions that were budgeted for further down the rail trail between town and the cable car. There's some. This is becoming fairly normal that we haven't gotten to all the tasks that we've committed to. This is going on a couple years now, and as normal as it comes up in November, when we sort of see what we actually got done. Anything we don't get done is money budget not spent, and can go back as a surplus or to defer to next year. There's various options that sort of are discussed at this forum and then pushed up to the board for a final decision. So there is quite a few, but definitely some of the things that we want to do is that gravel, like I mentioned earlier, down at Rosebery Shores. We've started working, placing that over some of the rootier sections in there. I don't know if anyone rides their bikes in that civic zone, but it doesn't quite have the best rideability because of the roots that are poked up and all of the large cottonwoods. So we're just using the gravel to just go over top of those roots and make it a bit more of an enjoyable experience. So that's about 50% done. More to come in the next, like I say, the week or two when the crew's there. The trail work at Bigelow, I mentioned that. That's to get down to those amenities. We have to pump the outhouse vote at Rosebery Parklands. It's after, I would say, 3 years now. So we got 3 years out of that tank, which is decent, and then it's getting near full. So we got to get the truck down there. That'll be the first time we've done that. So these are sort of the notable things. Like I said, we do hope to get as much of this work done as possible. There is discussions, and it's looking like we'll be putting out for a temporary sort of trail worker to help with some of these things just through the fall. So that's something to look out for as if someone that could be interested in that sort of arrangement. And that should help us push some of these things through. Anyway, I think that basically covers it. If anyone has any questions about the report or anything else related to the operations.
Thank you, Jeff. Any questions for Jeff?
Yes,
about the report?
It's Director Main here. I have a couple of comments and a couple of questions. If I could go ahead. Regarding the Rosebery Parklands, I fully realize that fuel mitigation is incredibly important, especially after what we've experienced this year. And I'm happy to see that we're working with the Rosebery Community Association on a fuel mitigation project. I want to bring to the attention of particularly of regional district staff that the Parklands itself is covenanted land that requires a very light hand on any work done in those lands. So even though regional district now owns it, does have covenants on it. And I know that Carrie has has seen those covenants previously. So I trust that the fuel mitigation work that's being proposed will also be sensitive to what those covenants are. And I would really love it if I guess I could have a conversation with Carrie about that. I was down at the Rosebery Parklands Parklands just the other day, and I saw a number of trees that apparently were marked for removal in terms of wildfire fuel. I was concerned that a lot of deciduous trees were marked to take out, where conifers that were right next to them that are in a very depleted and dried out state were not marked for removal. So I have a concern about that. And maybe you could set up a meeting, give Kerry a heads up about it, and I will also contact him to talk about that.
Leo, we have, this is Chair Hastings. We have, we talked about that at the last meeting, and Jeff assured me and the commission that the regional district would still have the say over what happens there in the Parklands as far as fuel mitigation, and that it would be a light touch. That's what I've been told. I'm wondering also if those trees weren't, the marked trees were just a boundary and not trees that were actually to be removed. I've seen the markings of the trees too, and they could just be the boundary of the area they want to mitigate. Not sure.
Yeah, that would be a question I would like to have with Kerry. And thank you for informing me that has been discussed previously, because I was not at the March meeting. So anything that was discussed then, I'm not aware of. So thanks for that.
Thank you, Leah. Are there any more comments about this report? It was nice to have a paper copy too to look at.
Yes, Mike Coolin, I have a comment.
Go ahead, Mike.
All right. I'm a bit concerned about the gravel that was put down on the trail near the works yard. It's kind of separated from the material that's turned into hardpan, and the gravel itself is kind of sitting on top of it and creating an unstable surface. And I can see potential for accident there. So, I mean, we could see how it progresses if it does adhere or harden. But right now, there's quite a bit of gravel sitting on top of a hard surface, and it's acting like marbles on the trail. So I think we should keep an eye on that and maybe make a decision about it after the winter.
Thank you, Mike. I've noticed that gravel too is quite rough and a little unstable on a bike. There's no telling what will happen after a while, though, as it does settle.
We had it's certainly finding, this is Jeff again, finding just the right gravel. It sounds so easy and so trivial, but it is difficult. And I agree, the resurfacing gravel that was used a number of years between the highways when that section was reworked and more of the ties were pulled out and it was made wider and then up including the area by the YRB, the gravel didn't wear as well as we had hoped, and sort of that segregation has occurred. And I guess that's sort of part of the reason we've had to import the gravel from a known source in the Nelson area, because of that we just could not find the right product in the valley. So we did have issues very similar to this on the rail trail in Nelson. Highways had resurfaced almost the entire thing, and the gravel segregated, and it was a real big problem. And we were able to, after a number of years and a number of different experiments, able to blade off that loose gravel and get down to a really nice surface. Not 100% sure how this happened when they placed the gravel, but yeah, it was all the fines were at the bottom and the loose rock ended up on top. But as soon as we bladed the loose rock off to the side, it was a massive improvement. And it sounds like that might be necessary up there as well. And I did notice that as soon as it was put down, that I definitely was like, oh boy, this is
Jeff, we might consider talking to Pete Schwartz about where he accesses his material, and he may have a closer supplier.
Yeah, while we were looking for this, actually, we talked to the fellow that brought the gravel in for the jump parks, and the problem was it had a little too much clay content.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I believe I did talk to Pete about that, actually. He put me in touch with the fellow in Winlaw, but yeah, it was a little too high in the clay content, unfortunately. So, like I said, it was just a matter of coincidence that we had to get rid of those railway ties. So I'm still on the source, and I definitely would like to find a reliable source closer. We have a number of years ago actually brought in a gravel from the cusp when we worked on the Rosebery Parklands bathroom there, and it was just almost silt. So anyway, it was definitely been a little bit of a challenge.
Jeff, this is Chair Hastings. I have a question. The mentioned high fine surfacing aggregate that has been delivered to the Rosebery shores, is that the same type of gravel?
It's the same. It's the same gravel that's at Bigelow. So no, it's not the same gravel that's up at the YRB yards.
Okay.
And there is a pile of it. You're welcome to go take a look at it. But
I will. But
from all of my experience in the Kootenays, that material is the best I can find that's available. And it's a chipper fines. It's a product that when they're making gravel, it's almost a kind of a byproduct, actually. They wouldn't build a road out of it. It's really good for trails.
All right.
And yeah, if you want to see how it sets up after getting compacted and worked, you can see it at Bigelow.
All right. Thank you, Jeff. Any more comments about this report before we move on?
Commissioner Law here, just real quick, that pile down at Bigelow, Jeff, that's going to be utilized to finish off the amenities that you spoke about, the two benches, just in case we get asked about it.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. It'll be all disappeared in a week or two, and it'll be used to cap the trails down to the amenities, exactly. And there shouldn't be any left, and if so, we'd probably just kind of spread it around the parking lot there so we can get that parking spot back.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. So I guess it was the budget report included in that report, Jeff, or is there more to say about the budget now?
No one has any questions about the report. I can move into the service statement, which is page 10 of this package, right, if you're looking at it digitally. Right. And yeah, as you can see, the budget utilization, the far right column is fairly, representative of the work that we have yet to do. Overall 30%, 35% of the budget spent. So yeah, definitely, sort of reflective of the work that we've put in there. Like I said, we're hoping to get much more of the things that we've committed to done, but we'll see. So we could be in a very similar position than we've been in a number of years now, where we go in with not using the full budget, but also not getting all the work done. So we have that decision to move forward, but we will see what the fall brings us and how other sort of priorities get in the way. And like I mentioned, that position might really give us a a bit of a jump start on some of these things. So, yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
Thank you, Jeff. So moving on to discussion of the two-thirds voting needed for our meetings. Do you want to lead that, Walter?
Okay, I'll start with that. We don't have a new business thing on this agenda, so the numbering might be a little bit out of sequence, and I'll leave it up to Teresa to do the numbering. If you look at it, the new items should not be under staff reports. It should be under new business. So I would say probably would be item number 7.1 for mine, and then the other one 7.2, but I'm not too sure what the regional district numbering system and how it works. So Teresa, it'll be up to you to do the appropriate numbering under new business. Thank you. So what I brought up is the Galena Trail. We have that rail trail that extends, starts in around Summit Lake area, the border of Area K and Area H. And initially, it was RDCK requested tenure on that trail. And it took a long time to go through the process. There was consultation, whether it should be motorized, non-motorized, etc. And Richard Allen was one of the representatives that worked on that even before I got elected. So anyways, it was all resolved. It is a trail there. It's non-motorized. And talk to Rec Sites and Trails BC. Rather than having the regional district maintain the tenure on that trail and tax for that trail, it seemed more appropriate to our taxpayers if we had a society manage that trail. And a society was formed, and they're managing that trail in conjunction with Rec Sites in BC. So we have provincial funding, and then we have a society that manages the trail with Rec Sites and Trails BC. So what I'm looking at is the Galena Trail. Right now, it's managed by the regional district, and we tax for it. And, it'd be more or less a continuous trail if we had Rec Sites and Trails BC involved in it, and possibly in conjunction with a society, Trail Society in the northern portion of Area H, work with Rec Sites and Trails BC. So to have that done, it requires a meeting. Our park staff meet with Rec Sites and Trails BC and run that idea by them if there is a specific interest. To be able to do that, we need a direction to staff from this committee to explore the idea. And I did talk to Richard Allen, who is part of the New Trail Society that looks after the trail from Rosebery to Summit Lake. And I talked to Mike Cullen, who is the chair of the other society, in North Spokane Valley Trails Society, that manages a lot of the trails in the northern portion of Area H, along with a part of the trail that I don't know whether it joins with the Galena Trail or not, but in the Sandon area, it does. So Mike kind of expressed a little bit of interest on it. Her society might be interested. But the first step is, if there is an interest from the society, and I'll ask Mike to speak to that, if there is an interest of the society, then I'd like to make a recommendation to staff to explore with Rec Sites and Trails BC the idea of managing the Galena Trail with a trail society in the northern portion of Area H. Not being specific to what trail society, but our staff will start that conversation. And when I talk to our staff, Manager Shiriko, he basically indicated he needs a direction to staff from this organization, from this commission, to be able to approach Rec Sites and Trails BC. I don't think it has to be a recommendation to the board, because this is just an exploratory stages. If something has to happen, then we'd have to have a recommendation to the board for board approval. So anyways, if there's any questions from anybody, I'd be glad to answer them. And then, being a non-voting member of the commission, I don't know if I can make a recommendation at this commission. So I would, to ensure that it's appropriate recommendation, that it be done by one of the members of the commission, if we so are inclined to do that. So I will open it up to questions if anybody wants to ask me any questions.
Yes, Walter.
Go ahead,
Go
Mike.
ahead. All right.
Okay.
Yes, Walter, I have a question. Would Rosebery Parklands and Bigelow Bay be included in this change of ownership, if you will?
No, specifically not, Mike. It would only be the Galena Trail.
Okay.
You know, the Parklands and the Bigelow Bay is a separate item altogether. It's more or less the trails as that I'm concerned about. We've done a lot of work on it, so it should be, the rec sites and trails should be glad to take this over or look after it, because we spent a lot of money. And if you take a look at our budget, that's one of our biggest budget items that our taxpayers have to pay. If we have rec sites and trails and a society manage that trail, I mean, they'll be eligible for other grants where the regional district is not eligible.
Okay, true enough. Second question, would RDCK be providing any budgetary assistance for the maintenance of that trail?
Not through taxation. It would be through possibly an area age director's grant towards the managing that trail, much like I've done with the North Slocan Valley Trails Society and the newly formed society looking after the trail between Summit Lake and Rosebery.
I guess as trail managers, what we've seen, what we're concerned about is having a reliable source of funding to operate and to undertake repairs and improvements. So is that something that RDCK could guarantee through a director's grant, or is that something that varies from year to year?
It's very similar to what I've done with the North Slocan Valley Trails Society. It's year to year. There is no guaranteed income coming to management, not the trail, to the society that's going to be working with Rec Sites and Trails BC. And from what I understand is Rec Sites and Trails BC could provide guaranteed funding for maintenance of that trail, a certain amount. They do so with the Slocan Valley Trail that runs from Slocan to South Slocan. Mm-hmm. So it'd be a partnership, or the owners would be Rec Sites and Trails BC, but the management portion would be in conjunction with a society.
Oh. Okay.
So I guess the question is the North Slocan Trail Society interested? I don't know what the result would be after staff talks to Rec Sites and Trails BC. If you're interested, then I would recommend to staff to involve you in the society if Rec Sites and Trails BC is receptive to this idea.
The Trail Society is interested, but we have a lot of questions.
Yeah, and it'll be just a part of the process of looking into it. There's no commitment made by anybody on this, including the commissioner one way. The only commitment that I would like to see from the commission is a direction to staff to explore the idea.
If I may, the Rail Trail Society is also interested. What happened?
Okay, so
we need a direct. I'm sorry.
I will
Go ahead, Walter.
I will read the recommendation, and I can email it to Teresa if she's unable to take the recommendation. But it is a direction to staff to explore with Rec Sites and Trails BC the idea of managing the Galena Trail with a trail society in the northern portion of Area H. Now, if a commissioner wants to move it.
If you could email them to me, that would be perfect. Thank you.
Okay. So put your email in chat so I can. So I presume it would be tjohnson@rdck.bc.ca. Gotcha.
This is Mike Coolin here. I will put forward the recommendation as read by Walter.
Thank you, Mike. Does anybody else have something to say about about this?
We need a seconder for that recommendation.
That's,
I will second that as chair. I think I can do that. I will second it. Anybody against this? Hear any negativity? Yeah, well, go ahead, Mike, and make that recommendation.
Well, I thought I did already.
Did already.
I will read the recommendation again, so make sure that everybody understands this. It's a recommendation for staff to explore with Rec Sites and Trails BC the idea of managing the Galena Trail with a trail society in the northern portion of Area H.
Thank you, Walter. It sounds like a good idea to me. It sounds like a sensible way to deal with these trails. Get them all under Rick sites.
I do have one more question.
Okay.
Which may come up, is that currently we have one employee that is employed for that section of the Galena Trail. Will we be keeping that employee, or may we hire our own, or dispense with an employee altogether and go with volunteer work? Any conditions there that you might think of, Walter?
Yeah, frankly, I don't think there would be any condition. Well, once the trail is given to Rec Sites and Trails BC to keep that employee employed looking after that trail, that'll be up to Rec Sites BC and the society that's willing to work with them. But this is all would be an exploratory, like I don't have any answers, definite answers to that, Mike. Should be all explored by our staff with Rec Sites and Trails BC and the interested society.
Awesome, thank you. Well, I do have one more question. Can we borrow Jeff if we take on this rail trail?
It's a good question, and I don't have an answer for you. And Jeff would be valuable to provide you some background on it. And with the transfer of the management to Rec Sites and Trails BC, I believe there would be something in cooperation to ensure that you have the necessary information, the necessary support to start.
Like a transitional period.
Something like that. That's, if I was negotiating that, that's what I would negotiate. But I have to leave it to staff.
Thank you, Walter. So there's lots to explore there. Can we move on then to this item 6.4, which is about the plaque on the cable car for Grant Copeland? I assume this is honoring him for putting in the first cable car on the line. Is that your understanding, Mike?
I think he wasn't. As far as I know, he was involved in not just the cable car. I think he was involved in quite a bit of the trail, wasn't he?
Well, I'm not sure. I expect he was, but I'm not sure of that. No.
Commissioner Law here, since I brought the motion forward, I would like to actually identify that Commissioner McCrae is on the meeting as well. Greg, are you able to unmute, and did you want to speak to this?
Yeah, okay, I'm on. I think I'm unmuted now. Yeah, Grant was very involved back in whenever that was 90 something, I think. And I just thought there was a plaque on the old cable car that kind of honored him, I guess. And of course it disappeared when we changed cable cars. And I just thought it seems appropriate that we give him some recognition. That's all. So we could write a little story about when this all happened and maybe thank him for doing that, or, somebody can write that up.
Anybody got any comments about this?
Yeah, Director Main here. I think it's a great idea, and particularly the piece about doing a little write-up for it, keeping those pieces of history alive is really important. And that would, the plaque at the cable car or on the cable car would be a really nice tribute to Grant.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I would like to propose a motion for this plaque, that we form a small committee just to work out the wording of it and maybe do some research, and so there's a fuller information besides just honoring Grant, and maybe include some other people as well who are instrumental, just to and provide a bit of history for the trail and cable car users.
That's a good idea, Mike.
I'll second that motion. Chairman Hastings here. Anybody have any no votes on that motion to form a committee to do research on the plaque honoring at least Grant? I know there were lots of people that worked on the whole trail over the years. Just all kinds of groups. So I hear no objections to this motion. I'll call the motion carried then. Who wants to be on this committee? Greg, would you like to be on the committee?
He's going. I'll volunteer to be on it. Mike Coolin.
Thank you, Mike.
Richard here. I'll participate in that as well.
Yeah. Did my name? I don't know if my name got in there the first time. I will also. Greg, this is Greg McCrae.
Perfect.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you, Greg.
All right, we've got Mike and Richard and Greg will form this committee to do some research.
Perfect. Commissioner Coolin,
Yes.
would you be able to type the wording of that motion the way you'd like it to be in the chat, or email it to me as well?
Okay, I'll email it to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. So is there any more business that anyone can think of at this point? Perhaps I'll call to see if there's anybody in the public that is out there and wants to make a comment. Is there any member of the public listening in? Okay, hearing none, what's the time? 8 o'clock, 8:04. We ask for public input. So the next meeting of our commission is scheduled for November 6th. Is everybody okay with that?
Yeah, I am.
All right. Okay. I will be here.
A question to through the chair to Jeff is budget. Jeff, are you going to prepare a budget for that November meeting for us to take a look at it, or do you want a committee to work with you in preparation for that budget, or is that too early?
That's a great question. I guess why don't I take emails from anyone that has any ideas. Of course, I know we met last year, and as I mentioned earlier, there's some of those tasks that we've already went through last year might not get completed. So, but yeah, absolutely. If anyone has anything new, maybe if I can get them sometime here, say by the end of October, if that's okay, and I can present a budget. I don't think we necessarily need to form a little committee here unless everyone feels that is necessary and wants to go go check it out, go for a ride and meet, we can do that as well. So, yeah, I'm flexible, but I think that is our normal sort of routine, though, Walter, is to have that done for our sort of last meeting of the year. We could definitely do that again.
Sounds good, Jeff. So you heard Jeff. If you have any suggestions what you want done in any of the parks that we have, send your emails to Jeff and he'll try to compile a budget for the November meeting for us to take a look at it and possibly add some more stuff or delete some stuff, whatever we do at our November meeting.
Sounds good, Walter. Thank you. So is it time to adjourn this meeting? Anything else? I guess
Motion to adjourn.
I would like to ask one more question to Jeff, I guess, or in the commission. When I'm going through the park, I pick up trash that I find. I've noticed that particularly the Rosebery Beach area, which we kind of come back to a lot, because people leave stuff there. Among the stuff they leave are folding chairs, plastic chairs that nest into each other, and they just leave them on the beach down there or push them into the bush for use of later. I would like to count that as trash and just take it out of the park. Does that sound appropriate to just take away things that people leave on the beach down there?
I could maybe help answer that. I guess it's Jeff here. Yeah, certainly we at some of the parks we do get people just leaving chairs that are broken. I tag them for once. For one, we have a number of garbage receptacles there, so people feel that they can leave those things there. We'd rather them take them home, obviously, and throw them out that way. But if you think that that's some local community members, leaving it there, and they're going to reuse it, and it's definitely looking like trash, or it could get blown away or blown into the lake or whatever, then I think the best thing to do would be leave a note on it and say that if this isn't removed by at a certain date, then we will consider it trash and throw it out. So I haven't seen it myself, but I could definitely make that have a look at things when I'm there and see how I feel, see what my feelings are, if it's look like it's usable stuff or if someone's just literally disposing of it. But that would I'd give them an opportunity to remove it if it looked like it still has a value.
So you're suggesting is leave a note on it. I hear that.
If it looks like it has some value, again, like we those collapsible chairs often fail and get ripped, and they're clearly trash. And we deal with that quite a lot at some of the beach parks we have, some of the busier beach parks. So I'm not necessarily surprised to hear this, for sure. Yeah. But from what I'm hearing, they are chairs of value to people, and we just let them know they have to pack in, pack out. Sort of is the rules for us all, even for chairs like that sort of thing.
It is, but it's a hard one for people to get around. Some people. Okay, well that answers my question. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Yes, sure. Commissioner Law, I'll try that again. Motion to adjourn. Thanks.
And a second? I second that movement. Chair Hastings. Do I hear any no's? Hearing none, I'll call this meeting closed. And I thank you all for showing up.
Yes, thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thanks and good night.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Thanks,
good night.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Good night, all.